I was born to rule the Seven Kingdoms, and I will.
The war's already begun. I've drawn first blood.
Cersei will be ready. They know we're coming.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back for another Game of Thrones Season 7 breakdown video. Today I'm going to take a closer look at the preview teaser for Episode 3 to try and get a better idea of what may take place in the next episode. Shall we begin? First, let's start off with the scene on the beach where we see a group of people arriving on a small boat as they are being greeted by a larger group of people that are waiting for their arrival on the beach. It appears to me that those are some Dothraki men standing on the beach, and I think this will be Jon Snow and Davos landing on Dragonstone to meet with Daenerys Targaryen. In Episode 2, Melisandre told Daenerys to summon Jon Snow to Dragonstone so Daenerys could meet Jon Snow for herself, and hear the stories about the things that Jon has seen with his own eyes, to prove to Daenerys that the long night is upon us, because Melisandre knows that Daenerys is going to be needed, and it might take the help of Jon Snow to convince her about the army of the dead that is coming. Tyrion sent Jon a raven telling him to come to Dragonstone. Jon also received a raven from Samwell Tarly, telling him that Dragonstone has a mountain of dragonglass. Jon now knows that he must go down there and mine some of this dragonglass, and hopefully while he is there he can also form an alliance with Daenerys Targaryen, not only because she has a very large army, but she also has 3 fire-breathing dragons that are going to be the ultimate white killers. Jon Snow left in Episode 2 and now he has already arrived on the beach in the very next episode. This will be one of the most important meetings of Jon Snow's life. With the army of the dead coming, Daenerys has everything that Jon needs right now on Dragonstone. Her 3 dragons can kill all the whites, and there is enough dragonglass there to make everyone a weapon so they can increase their chances of killing every single White Walker too. But it's not going to be easy. The next shot, we see a group of people walking up towards the castle on Dragonstone. If you look closely at the group of people, you can see Davos, Jon, and Missandei as they are being escorted by some Dothraki men. I think Tyrion is going to most likely be right here too, because he walks into the throne room with Jon when he meets Daenerys, which is the next clip we see. Tyrion, Missandei, Davos, and Jon Snow walk into the room as Daenerys is awaiting for them on her throne. And this should be a pretty epic moment. Jon Snow and Daenerys Targaryen finally meeting for the first time. They are actually family members and they don't even know it yet. Jon Snow's father is Rhaegar Targaryen, which is Daenerys Targaryen's brother. But although Jon Snow might be king in the north, Daenerys is going to expect him and ask him to bend the knee to her, because Daenerys sees herself as the rightful ruler of the Seven Kingdoms. But I do not think Jon is going to bend the knee though. Jon has already shown that he is not going to rule the same way it's always been done. When Jon Snow was Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, he told Tormund he wouldn't ask the wildlings to bend the knee to him. Jon also had a lot of respect for Mance Rayder too, and he wasn't bending his knee for anyone. And I think Jon might do the same. I think Tormund may have been right when he told Jon he had spent too much time with the Free Folk. Jon has always done things his way, even if it can get him killed. But on the other hand, I could also see Jon doing whatever it takes to get the help that he needs. If it takes bending the knee for him to get the support of Daenerys and her forces, I think he would do it because it would benefit everyone in the long run. Jon is going to tell Daenerys about the army of the dead, and he's going to ask her for her help. But does anyone think Daenerys is going to set aside her plans right now for Jon? She probably won't. She's already in the middle of a war. By the time Jon gets there, Daenerys will probably have already received word about what happened to her allies. Euron Greyjoy just wiped out Yara Greyjoy's fleet, and he killed several of the Sand Snakes in the process. Then he took Yara, Ellaria, and Tyene prisoner, which he is going to take to King's Landing as Cersei's gift. I think Daenerys is going to want to act fast after she hears about this. She already has men in place to go to Casterly Rock and take over the Lannisters' ancestral home. With all of this going on, Daenerys is going to tell Jon that she isn't going to be able to help him right now. But there is another scene in this teaser that may be showing Daenerys contemplating her decision. In this clip, Daenerys is overlooking the sea, most likely thinking about everything that is going on right now. Her forces are split up, and some of her biggest alliances were just killed and taken prisoner. Now the king in the north is here, and he is saying he needs every soldier and dragon I have up north to fight the army of the dead that she wasn't even expecting to fight. She is probably going to be torn, trying to decide what she needs to do next. While she's out here, Jon Snow's probably going to come up to her to speak with her privately, one-on-one. When they show the next angle of Daenerys, you can see someone at the top of the steps coming down, which I think is Jon Snow. Which I did point out in my Comic-Con trailer breakdown. But another clip from this teaser shows her turning her head to look at someone coming up next to her. Out here, Jon and Daenerys will talk and probably have a better understanding of each other, and come closer to respecting each other and their plans even more. Next we see Sansa in the Godswood at Winterfell, walking away from the weirwood tree. I think Bran Stark will arrive in this episode, and out here Bran will reveal a massive revelation to Sansa about the truth. We saw Bran sitting in a wheelchair out here in the trailer, and as Sansa is walking away, if you look right over her shoulder, it does appear that someone is behind her sitting in a chair as well. Most likely it's going to be her brother Bran Stark. And with all the tension that's going on in the north right now, whatever Bran tells Sansa out here could make things explode. Bran could potentially tell Sansa about Littlefinger and how he betrayed their father, which might be the tipping point for Sansa and seal Littlefinger's fate. Bran could also tell Sansa about the truth of Jon Snow's parentage. Now, it's still kinda undetermined whether Bran knows who Jon's father is or not, but he definitely knows that Jon is not Ned's son, and this information could shake up the entire North. Sansa has already been having some issues with Jon, so there's no telling what she might do if she finds out Jon isn't Ned's son. He would still be family with Stark blood, but since her and Jon aren't close as some of the other Stark children, she might not care, and I'm really anxious to see this scene to see how it's going to play out. Then we see Euron Greyjoy, as he arrives in King's Landing, being greeted by a welcoming crowd of cheers as he struts around on his horse with his brand new prisoners and gifts for the Queen Cersei Lannister. Euron just kicked the shit out of Yara Greyjoy and her fleet, along with the Sand Snakes who were traveling with her. I was telling you all for months that Euron was going to be a savage this season, and I'm so happy they actually delivered on that. His introduction to the show was pretty damn bad, but they have done a great job with his character now, and I gotta give props to the actor who really turned up the intensity during the battle on the sea. He looked like a fucking maniac and I loved it. But as Euron is gallivanting through the streets, if you pause the video at the right moment, you can see he has Yara Greyjoy right behind him, on a leash that he has in his hand, and the remaining Sand Snakes probably aren't too far behind. When Euron arrives in the Great Hall, he takes a bow to Cersei as he presents his gift, which we all know Cersei's gonna love. She hates the Sand Snakes, Ellaria especially, ever since she poisoned her daughter back in Season 5. I don't think Cersei's going to show any kind of mercy on Ellaria, and I wouldn't be surprised if she makes her watch as she murders her daughter Tyene right in front of her. Cersei will probably have the Mountain finish them off, but I don't think it's going to be quick. He might take them into a room just like with Septa Unella. He raped and murdered Oberyn Martell's sister, and he killed her children. Then he squashed Oberyn Martell's head like a grape, and now he's about to finish off the rest of them. Next we see Cersei in this teaser talking to someone in private, and she says the war has already begun and she drawn the first blood. And I can't really figure out who she is talking to right here. When I look at the color of the sleeve the person is wearing, it doesn't look like Qyburn or Jaime's type of clothes. I was thinking it could be Ellaria or Tyene Sand, but I'm not 100% sure about that either. But I do think this is someone new that she hasn't spoken to yet this season. Tyrion Lannister speaks in this teaser too, and he says Cersei will be ready. But we aren't exactly sure who he's talking to either. At first I thought he might be talking to Jon Snow, but I think he could be talking to Theon Greyjoy as well. Theon could ask about getting his sister back, or Daenerys may be furious herself and want to get into the city to get them back when she finds out. But Tyrion knows Cersei would be ready for that. Or Tyrion could be talking to Grey Worm and the Unsullied before they leave for Casterly Rock, letting them know that Cersei would have people ready for an attack there. But they could go through the drain system to sneak in and catch them by surprise, which is something we see in this preview also. Grey Worm puts on his helmet as they get close to Casterly Rock, and this will most likely be right before he turns around and gives his men the nod to stay alert and be ready themselves. They will exit the boats and go through the drainage system. They will take out a few guards inside, which we see one of them laying on the ground here already, as they storm the castle and take it over. This will probably be a quick battle that won't take up too much time in the show, because in this same episode, Jaime's going to be striking Highgarden. There is a quick clip of Jaime walking into a courtyard, and I think this is at Highgarden, which is the seat of Lady Olenna and House Tyrell. Jaime and Bronn plus the Lannister forces will sack Highgarden, which will cut off the food supply to Dragonstone, which should be a big blow to Daenerys because she has a lot of mouths to feed, and Dragonstone doesn't produce any food on its own. Not only will this cut off supplies to Daenerys, but this will also feed Jaime's army and horses too, which he desperately said he needed in the very first episode. When Jaime takes over Highgarden, this is going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, but as this is going on, the Lannisters are going to be losing Casterly Rock at the same time. It appears this next episode is going to be jam-packed with tons of action, meetings, and even some reunions. This should be a really good episode that might take the pace up another level from the last episode. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how the power's about to shift in Westeros after this episode is over. The Lannisters might lose Casterly Rock, but Daenerys is about to lose her 3rd major ally in her camp. Yara, Ellaria, and maybe even Lady Olenna Tyrell is going to be removed from the equation after this episode is all said and done, while the Lannisters gain the full support of Euron Greyjoy and Randall Tarley. The tide is beginning to shift, and we aren't even halfway through the season yet, and Qyburn is yet to put his new weapon in action. Daenerys might need the help from the north sooner than she thinks. But comment down below and let me know how you think all these things are going to play out in the next episode. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you down in the comment section. Bye.